Hello there, and I hope you're all doing fantastic today. So today we're going to have this kind of animation that we're doing here with those different circle pieces and that revolve around one centerpiece. That also can be changed in the amount of pieces obviously as well, and then we can still achieve the same kind of effect. So let's go and let's get started with that. So first of all, this is a piece just for you don't need to do, and we're going to do the following. So we have a certain base point, right? And we want this point to be used to have different circles around it. So we're going to have like one circle like this, one circle like this, one circle like that, you know, like different circles. And why do we want it? So basically, I want to have a circle piece like this, and then another bigger one like this. Then I want to take, from this circle, I want to take pieces out like that, and also with the same thing with the big thing as well. Then once I have those out, those will be basically connected together. So I take it like this, and they will be connected from the end points and from the beginning points. And what we're left with is basically just a piece like that. Now, when we have several pieces like this one like this, and then another one like that, you know, they kind of like go around the circle piece. But obviously we don't want to have them like straight like that, but we want to have them as well like in different like sizes and lengths, and so they kind of like go in a different way. So that's like the basic idea step of how it can be done. Obviously there are several different methods of doing it, but I just show you mine so you can kind of learn from it along the way. So first, let's create several circles. So we first of all create a circle, very basic, and we're going to create several circles and also in a certain range. So we're just gonna go with random, and we're going to construct a domain that will be used for this piece as well. And we want to have this domain in like those first kind of piece of circles, right? So we're gonna have it maybe between 2 and 5 and use it as our base here. And this would be the range. And then we obviously want to have some control around the numbers as well. So let's do like let's say 22, name it circle amount, and we're gonna put this in here. So we're gonna have, as you see, our main different circles. Maybe reduce this down a little bit so we can simplify it in a way. Now, I not only want to have those circles here, but I also want to have my big pieces as well already. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to be taking the same piece, Control C, Control V, and then simply increase those things here. Maybe make the slide a little bit bigger, go like this, and then I have my radius here as well. So now I have my two sets of circles, and I want to connect them together at a certain point. So first of all, I want to do, first thing I want to do is to create the evaluate curve commands, which basically takes a point on that curve. So we're going to have this point here, right? And if I'm just showing this like this here now, I'm creating a point on this thing here as well. And as you see, they're kind of right now going through it kind of like a solar system. That's not it could be interesting, but in our case, we want to have it that they're always like on the same point as well. So we basically can, and if I put this to 0 and to 1, we basically have them on the same coordinate points. So we're going to this and going the same with that one here as well. So now we have our several points here. Now, I also wanted to have so that those points are not only always on the same point, but they are kind of distributed in a better way. So by doing this, I want to also use just random for now and create a range between 0 and 1, and the amount of points, which should be equivalent to the circle amounts that we have here in the beginning. I take those in here, and I will exchange them. And as you see now, we have a very nice amount of points that are distributed along our curve. Now that we have that, we basically want to also create a line between those points here. So if I create it with the line tool here, I am creating the points to get connected together. Now, that's great and all, but I also want this point here, oh, let's actually increase the amount of circles so we have a better understanding with that. So for example, I want to have this part here, and then it should go right here and up there and back again. Because if it would go like straight like this, I don't really want that. I don't want to have it like diagonally, like this. So I'm going to, and that's a very simple method to do it here, I'm going to use the evaluate curve command, but I just use it on a different part of the curve, or like as this on the shifted part, let's say. So not only we have to shift lists in this case, and that might be also important, I want to sort the lists as well. This because I want those points to be one after another, because if we took a look at point list at the moment, we would see that those points would be very kind of randomly distributed, right? So it's 0, 6, 3, 9, 4, 2. Like, I don't want that. I want to have them equally distributed along the way. So I want to use the sort list command and put it into the values, those things here, and put keys and values as the main thing. So now you see they're nice and normally sorted along the curve from 0 to whatever number I want to have it to be. Now, I want to now then as well, like we said, shift the list and take the second part of it. So I'm going to use the shift list command here. And I'm going to first of all use it here. It might be the other way around. Let's see if this will work out. And then also use the command here and put the curve in there. And as you see, we have our curve very nicely on that other point. Now I also want the top part to be happening with this as well. And I'm going to use the other part like that. And I should copy this one as well and use it over here. So now that we have that, we can basically construct our, well, polygon back together and have it in a useful way, have it not rounded, but actually kind of like a polygon. So with that, we're going to use the merge command. And in this case, I also want it to be that those groups are interconnected. Like, first of all, also let me just make this invisible so we don't get confused by some random circles that are around here. And I'm going to connect those together. So, well, no, first of all, we have to create the lines that connect them together. So, and this sometimes tries some guesswork, but we can do it, I guess, in a more efficient way. So this one is the bottom one. So we need to connect those two together in the right way. Let's see. So wait, let's take a look at this and this. I might need to shift them as well. Here again, let's take a look if that gives me the result I want to have. Not really. Let's actually, I think in this case we might need to shift them negatively. Yeah, that looks already a little bit better. And we should, because we should once forward and then once backward. And in this case, We have our closer ones as well. And I want to connect them as well, but I probably need to shift one of them as well in this case. Let's see if I actually did anything here. This one is over there. The other one is over there, and I need to put the connect. Okay, so I need to shift this as well. Also in the negative direction. So they kind of like go back together again. This. Perfect. Now I have the second part, and now I need just the last one, which should be rather easy. So it is this top one and the bottom one. I think here, this one and that one. Yes, this looks correct. Good. Now this is always like this kind of, you know, branching it off and then branching it back together. But, well, I think it works. So this is good. You can also, if you take a look, if you change the amounts, but still have the things here. I see actually made a little mistake here. It's not something, because I want them to go straight here. Take a look at that. Those ones here in the middle, they look quite okay. But the ones here look a bit weird. Let's take a look here. So we have the parameter. You simply not use this one. Let's take a look. So this one. Those one I want to go together, right? Maybe I should simply, I think that's the case, right? I think I simply need to just shift the amount just normally, right? This kind of gives me like a resolution here, but not really that what I want completely. But, well, anyway. This is something, obviously, when you recreate it, sometimes the bugs kind of go along with it as well. But which is not bad, because we also only want to focus on the inner part, which seems to work correctly for now. All right, let's just try to have this. And we also want to take the last part together. So we have this one, we have this one, we have this one. And we have this one twice. So I want to create one here. Yeah, that looks already way better. Good. Now that we have that, we just want to graph every single one of these. And then we also want to put them together like that. And we also need to simplify them. Well, we don't need to, but it's recommended, because otherwise the tree structure might be a bit wrong. So we rather do that. So now we have our curves like that, put together a nice piece, and they should already be working quite okay, I think, as far as now, right? Yeah, I think that works pretty well. And also, if we change the amount, this would still go fine. Now, before, like right now, we only have this kind of like a random amount, right? So this is because when we defined our parameters here, we only took like random numbers in there, sorted them, and that's what it was, right? But I also want to have a distribution that is more like equalized. So we can get this by creating a range, and this range can be dependent on the amount of circles that we have, and it also goes from 0 to 1. And actually, we have to reduce it by 1, because I don't want to take like the last one, let's say. So we have this now, and if I put this in here, like we just change the parameter, let's just rename it here, parameter. You see, it will be equally distributed as well. And well, that's nice and good, but maybe I want to have like something in between. So what we basically want to do here is the following. So we have our panel of things here, right? And then we also have our panel of things here. And there might be different ways how you can connect those two together. But I basically want to have a weighting mechanism with that. So it either takes the 0007 or the 0 or the 0001 or that one. So the best way, I think at least, is to do it with the expression. I think there might be more streamlined ways with, for example, pufferfish that can make this weighted average way more easier and you don't have to do this thing. But for understanding reasons, I recommend to follow along in this case as well. So first of all, let's rename those variables here, x, y, and I think we need a third one as well, so z. So in this case, so let's take the parameter first, like our non-chaos, and our parameter chaos. And we take them into x and y. And then we also have one that kind of regulates between those two. So this regulates between non-chaos and chaos. So we put this one here as well. So by the time basically the non-chaos increases, the other one should decrease. So by that we can simply go in here and we have the x one, right? The x number. And now we need to do the following. So every time my x increases, my other one decreases. So if I would do, I think, well, let me just take a look. So if I x times z, well, let's just let me take a look of how I did it in the solution already, because okay, so I basically put them together and have them in a negative way afterwards. So I take the first one, then I say it so I always go from 1, and then I subtract it by the absolute of our chaos or non-chaos thing. And then with that, I also add the chaos thing to it as well, which should be like the second time times this one. So let's see if this worked. I don't know if that makes sense when I'm not a mathematician in a long stretch, so it might be a little bit weird to talk about this. So let's see. And as we see, yeah, I think that worked pretty great to go like from this, like, you know, from nothing and then going to like something here as well. And there's actually another one here being created as well along the lines. Good, great. And I'm happy that it worked. And now we only want to have like this last piece of information here as well, which would be the kind of changing of colors and stuff. So in our case here, I use a custom preview. And also we have our thing that is like put together right now, and we use the boundary surface in order for it to have some like weight to it, let's say. And then we're also going to extrude it in some way here as well. Actually, before we extrude and make it colorful, I want to put a little bit of, well, I think we already kind of have like an animation here, right? I think there will be a more complex animation within the Grasshopper file that I'm sharing to you, but this one is like more like basic. So we have our base like area here, And we're going to create a simple kind of, oh yeah, and also I want this to be a graph here in that case. That will be, yeah, dependent on a Gaussian curve, but then also dependent on a kind of, how to say, a Perlin noise. For example, this one, yeah, which basically takes our basic thing here and it goes a bit like more smooth through it, and I want to have this bit increased like that, so it goes through the Perlin noise in a smooth way. So now that we have that, we can create our little animation here, and I'm going to have the color based on the area that I'm having here. So I'm using gradient here, and let's just use the colors like blue and then orange. That, and we also will flatten that thing as well. And we are going to as well use the Z commands and use also the 1/x to create a Z direction kind of thing that is happening here. And I want to multiply this as well to get some more thickness and control over it as well. Same. Yeah, let's make it a bit more like this. And then depending on that, I think actually, yeah, you can actually also add some pieces here as well. So I'm going to create another piece like this here. Wait, let's go like this. And then you can create several pieces, or you can also just like use the preset of this very colorful rainbow animation here. And we are going to use the area as our boundaries. And the upper limit and lower limit, well, not videos, wait, this is wrong. We're going to construct a domain of that and use it as the upper and lower limits, and have them as the parameter here as well, and then use this as a material and have them that as the basic thing. So I think in that case those should work correctly. Take a look. Yeah, I think it works pretty well. So that's it for now. I'm uploading a more advanced file which has a little more stuff and some more animation thing is going on here as well in the GitHub thing that you can take a look, which has more has some of the edge problem solved, for example, as well, and other things that can have a more streamlined animation in that sense as well. So yeah, let me know if there are any questions, and hopefully this helps kind of guide you with some kind of circular design thing in some sense. So with that, have a good day, happy scripting, and see you in the next one.